Das Energy by Paul Williams. Originally published by Elektra Records in 1973 as a paperback, the first and only book they ever published, Das Energy received no fanfare and no reviews, but slowly the word got around, and now over 150,000 people have bought it. As the author says, people tell me again and again that they like the book because it says the things they feel and think about and have never been able to put into words. About the author. Paul Williams was born in Boston, Massachusetts on May 19, 1948 at 7:22 p.m. He is best known for his work in writing and publishing. He founded Crawdaddy, the magazine of rock, in 1966. Das Energy was written in 1970 in a wilderness commune on an island in western Canada. Words from Paul Williams to the readers of Das Energy. Everything I have written, and Das Energy in particular, has been and will be created by my readers. Das Energy by Paul Williams. Copyright 1973. Narrated by Rex King. Page 1. The only sin is self-hatred. It is the act of negation. Its opposite is faith. There is no such thing as evil. The concept of evil is a crutch. We will not heal until we toss away the crutch. To heal is to become healthier. To become healthier is to enjoy a freer flow of energy. It is the flow of energy that gets us high. To perceive something as evil is to imagine that object, that person, is not a part of me. He's something else. To perceive evil is to attempt to deny that we are all one. We have a myth that relates to this, the myth of God and Satan. The fallen angel Lucifer, cast out of heaven for disobeying God. God who is good, Lucifer who is not good. Not God, evil. But who is God trying to kid? God is all. There is nothing that is not God. Lucifer is God. There is no distance. One cannot fall from grace. One can pretend perhaps that brother over yonder is not me. He is something else. He is everything of myself that I cast out of myself. One can pretend, but for how long? There is no way to cast out any part of one's self. Systems of energy contain no garbage. There is no such thing as garbage. Dear God, the jig is up. Stop chasing your tail. Embrace yourself. Lucifer returns to heaven, and there be dancing in the streets. The only sin is self-hatred. We call it sin, but its true name is delusion. We have got to get ourselves back to the garden. Easily done. We are in the garden. Let us open our eyes. Page 3. If you let go, something will happen. Fear is always anticipation of the unknown. Most human energy flow problems relate to the inability to relax. Fear of letting go. If you let go, something will happen. Fear of the unknown. Rational mind wants to make a deal. First tell me what will happen, and then I'll let go. Fuck you. No one knows what's going to happen, ever. The future, next moment, is unknowable, unknown. Rational mind won't believe that. He is afraid to. Sometimes it is enlightening to have a word for God. Sometimes it is blinding. If you make a list of words for God, you will have a list of all words. You will not have God. Energy flows through all things. It rests in none of them. Guilt is a form of self-hatred, also of self-indulgence. No one benefits from your feeling guilty except you. You use guilt to shield yourself from the pain of awareness. When you short-circuit your energy, you cheat us all. Then use that as excuse for further short-circuiting. There is a way out of this trap. Don't feel guilty. Don't cop out. Accept responsibility for your actions. Do what's right. Don't live in the past. Learn from the past. Do right in the present. What is right? Right is what feels right. Intuitive awareness. You at this moment know exactly what's right for you to do at this moment. No one else knows. No facts are relevant. Think of yourself as a piece of equipment, if you like. You are a human body with a human mind superimposed. Through the subconscious of that mind, you are linked with, or a part of, have access to all human consciousness everywhere. Through your subconscious, you are a sensitive instrument. You are a physical, emotional, spiritual extension of the whole human race. You are an individual, a particular extension, an extremity. You are defined by your own conception of you, self. Through your subconscious, you have access to all. You are a sensitive instrument. At any given moment, you can feel what's right and do it. Feeling requires no effort on your part. It is what you were designed to do. It is you. No one else is the same person, and nowhere else is this moment. You are a piece of equipment, and you can see a table or hear a voice. Then you can feel what's right. You are God. Page 8. Each human is an island. We are all one being. Each human is an island, alone, cut off, distant, full of the pain of that distance, reaching out every moment to ease his loneliness, becoming ever more conscious of her aloneness, moving heaven and earth to fill that empty place, that gnawing hunger, that bottomless pit of the heart that is always deepest just at the moment you think you've finally filled it. It is absurd. It is unbearable. It is the force that keeps us going, the destroyer of peace, the sole motivation, outward urge, the source of all pain and joy, hope and despair, hatred, love, the meaning of life. We are all one being, nothing more, nothing less. We are each alone, cut off from ourself by oceans of distance, struggling for awareness but blinded by terror, desperate for peace but unable to rest. Each human is an island. Each island is an extension of the same damn planet. The past and the future are inevitable. The past and the future do not exist. Page 10. What is this word efficiency? Sometimes it seems a close cousin to death. We are encouraged not to linger, not to enjoy life, to hurry up and get it done so we'll have time for something else. Something else, what? Efficiency, the destroyer, millions upon millions of living dead, done in by the electric can opener and the automobile. Progress is our most important product. Babies are our business. Time is money. Life is cheap. Modern technology, modern business, the modern state gives us everything we need. Except breathable air, drinkable water, edible food, meaningful work, freedom from fear, freedom to love, freedom to be ourselves, courage, pride, friendship, hope. The moral of the story is, don't be in such a hurry. Beware creeping efficiency. Slow down and live. Dear Abby, if we merge into group consciousness and unity, one being, will I lose my individuality? I've had it a long time, and I am rather attached to it, concerned. Dear Concerned, we already are one being. You are still an individual, so clearly there is nothing to worry about. In fact, the more you are aware of and act like yourself, the more valuable you are to the total creature. Unlike the modern corporate socialist state, which requires carbon copy invariant individuals in order for its computers to predict and control social, economic, political events, the living, breathing, organically structured being that inhabits this planet, that is now in the process of becoming conscious of itself, has need of the greatest possible diversity in its component parts. The more diverse an ecological system, the healthier it is. So embrace your individuality, your selfness. You have nothing to lose but your credit cards. Love, Abby. Truth is what sounds right. Beauty is what looks right. Beware of symmetry. Beware means be aware. It is not possible to make a mistake. In the beginning, God created all this stuff, then put Adam and then Eve in the middle of it, and they could dig it all right. It was paradise. Then God, who was no dummy, said, "Look, kids, I've got some business to take care of. Have fun and do whatever you feel like. But whatever you do, don't touch that tree over there." So, of course, they did, and God came back, threw a fit, tore up the lease, and threw them out. So the story goes. And it all rings true. Adam and Eve, humanity ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil and lost their primal innocence, expanded their awareness, and they were on their way. They couldn't turn back. Like all our actions, their act was irrevocable. Okay, but what is this bullshit about a religion based on regretting that move? It isn't possible to make a mistake, is it? We are God. Took us a long time to figure it out, didn't it? And it's high time we stopped messing around with this guilt crap and got down to business, which is, I think, creating heaven on earth. Let's affirm our past and say goodbye to it and get to work on the present. Why wait any longer for the world to begin? Vote with your life. Vote yes. Page 18. Each person creates themselves. Each of us creates ourselves anew at each moment. Each of us creates ourselves and the world we live in. The world as it seems. The world as it is. Each of us is responsible for every aspect of our creation. Each person's needs are different. Increasing awareness means increasing awareness of this fact. Increasing awareness of this fact means the dissolution and collapse of all existing governments, economic systems, educational systems, conceptual systems. So it goes. Change is a constant. It isn't what you know. Stop showing off. Stop showing off. It isn't what you do. It's what you are that matters. Words contain no awareness. They can only trigger awareness. It does no good to try to impress a person with some thought he can't relate to. But if you can make him realize the obvious, that might change his life. A few people realizing the obvious and communicating with each other can create a chain reaction. There is nothing so potent as an idea whose time has come. By doing nothing more than realizing and accepting the obvious, a person can change the world. The world is constantly changing. It is constantly being changed. The creature that lives on this planet that now begins to be conscious of itself as a creature is not merely the species Homo sapiens. He, she, it is the sum, the continuity of all life. Bacterium and mountain lion, dandelion and virus, octopus and mushroom, maple tree and human. Humanity alone is not God any more than a brain in a jar is a person. Humanity alone is absurd, a meaningless concept. Life is divine. Life is a continuity. All things are related. All beings are interdependent. They cannot exist without each other. They do not exist without each other. Humanity is the only species that poisons its own drinking water. Obviously, then, the next stage for humanity is to become the species that restores and cares for its own drinking water. And everyone else's, of course. We're all in this thing together. A person who competes is a person who does not know who she is. She is suffering from stifled awareness. A person who feels jealous is a person who does not know what he has. He is suffering from stifled awareness. The amazing thing is, it's not that easy to stifle awareness. It requires constant diligence. You have to really work at it to be miserable. Possessiveness is a form of doubt. People cling to what they think they have because they doubt that they're worthy of it. If they knew their own worth, they'd know there is no need to cling. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And you always have more than you could want. The wanting just gets in the way of enjoying what you have. Acquisition is a greater pleasure than possession, and since you get what you need, the easiest way to acquire stuff is to give so freely of what you have that you're always in need. Less stuff to carry around that way too. It is always a pleasure to participate in the flow of energy. Participating in the energy flow is the only satisfaction there is in life. High sex is pure energy flow. Guilt is an inhibitor. That's why it is said that you cannot love until you love yourself. Love is affirmation. Love is affirmation. Jealousy, possessiveness, or doubt. Jealousy and possessiveness have nothing to do with love. Every act of love should be cause for joy in every person who is aware of it. To be angered by the fact of love is to be afraid of life. Page 31. Shame. Shame is the result of failing to do what one feels is right, or it is a failure to have faith in one's own feelings in the face of social pressure. To be ashamed is to judge oneself. One should never judge oneself. One should never judge. If you are doing what feels right to you, if you are honest and forthright in your feelings, that is the best you can do. If your friends and neighbors do not understand, your responsibility is to continue to do right until they do understand. To do less than this is to back off from awareness. If you are not doing what feels right to you, do not be ashamed. Put all your energy into the effort to do right. I can't. That is what people love to say. I can't. It's never true. Hard work is relaxing. It's as easy as falling off a log. It's a pleasure to make full use of one's body. It's a pleasure to make full use of one's mind. Hard work is often a drag to anticipate. Don't anticipate. Don't do what you don't need to do, and you will never feel lazy. It is a pleasure to be part of the energy flow. A body or mind that is seldom in full motion is a body or mind that can seldom fully rest. Those who fear anarchy and seek law and order should know that all life is in perfect order and nature's law is never broken. It is only our primitive human structures that are in disarray. Those who fear authority and seek personal freedom should know that every living creature is free to follow its will and that the only authority it need ever obey is vested in that will. If your life lacks order, it is because you have not yet accepted nature's order, God's order. If you do not feel free, it is because you have not yet declared your own freedom, for you are waiting for it to be given to you. You will wait forever. Homo sap, that creature who believes his purpose is to control and conquer nature, is just now beginning to remember the obvious, that he is a part of nature himself. He has fought his way to the top of the planetary spinal cord, inflicting damage every step of the way. Now bewildered, he looks around. What am I doing here? Assuming responsibility answers a still, small voice all around him. Let us remember our lives are but moments in the flow of eternity. And let us also remember that eternity is but a flow of lives like ours. It's all up to you. You are completely responsible for your life. You are the creator. It's an awesome burden and a great freedom. It's all up to you. When you take responsibility for one life, you assume responsibility for all life. If you fail to take responsibility for your life, you do not exist. Tough, isn't it? When you finally realize how really tough it is, when you finally accept life, when you finally find there is no way out but self-awareness and the incredible pain and loneliness and responsibility it brings, then and only then will you begin to be alive and begin to know the joy of freedom. You know what has to be done? Why don't you do it? Stamp out hesitation before it grows into fear. Page 40. Fear. The nature of fear is that it feeds itself. Under proper conditions, it feeds itself incredibly quickly. Reason is not fast enough to stamp out fear. That is the mistake most of us make. Do not argue with fear. Wipe it from your mind the instant you recognize it. Practice. Become skilled at recognizing the earliest symptoms. The only way to deal with fear is by reflex. Stop it. Wipe it out. Shoot first. Ask questions later. Consider a tightrope walker. The thought begins, what if I were to get scared? What if I were to look down? The thought must be killed at the first sound of what if. To wait any longer is to lose one's certainty, to lose one's footing, to plunge. We are all tightrope walkers. We must learn that reflex to survive. Reflex, that is how we deal with fear. Listen, learn. Fear is the greatest enemy of awareness. It leaves shame and guilt far behind. Fear is the force that holds us back, and we need not be held back any longer. Listen, there is a way to deal with fear. First, accept that fear is not needed and that there is never a reason to let it live. Carry this knowledge with you always. It is your first line of defense. Second, learn to recognize your fears in all their forms in the earliest stages possible. Third, learn reflex. Any fear-killing mantra will do. Say, I shall not fear. I need not fear. Write your own mantra. Learn it. Use it. Killing fear is like stamping out a fire. Reflex, fear, stamp it out. Fourth, never under any circumstances think first. That will destroy reflex. Shoot first, stamp it out, then think if you must. It's hard to stop the reasoning mind, which of course is the breeder of fear. Here is an argument your mind is sure to come up with. You may as well be familiar with it. The argument is that fear is needed. Fear is a warning. Fear protects us from danger. If a baby didn't learn to fear the hot stove, he would be burned again and again. Not to think about fear, not to let it live, so the argument goes, is to blind oneself to danger. Your mind will phrase the argument. Your mind must answer it in advance. These arguments are deadly if they wait till fear is present, raging. Fear is born of reason, and it destroys reason. One must not use reason to combat fear. So think about this argument now. Do we need fear? Is it our protection? This is what I think. I think fear is an alarm clock. The first thing you do when the alarm sounds is shut it off. Then respond to the alarm. Collect yourself. Take action. And that's step 5. Be aware. Don't ignore fear. Stamp it out. Then stay awake. It should be obvious what caused the fear. Thinking about it is more likely to bury the awareness than promote it. If it isn't obvious, don't belabor it. Just stay awake. Keep your eyes open. Be alert. Oh, by the way, it isn't fear that keeps the baby from the stove. Once he's touched it, it's awareness. Pain and awareness are the same thing. Fear and awareness are not. Fear is the mind killer. 1. Fear must be stamped out. Accept that. 2. Learn to recognize fear. 3. Stamp it out. Reflex. 4. Don't think about it. 5. Respond. Be alert. Be aware. It works. Reflex works. The mantra works. You need not fear. If you read these words and continue to fear, it is only because you want to. Why do you want to? Don't ask. Stamp out fear. A healthy mind is a mind through which energy flows freely. Free-flowing energy gets us high. Fear is a disease. It blocks the flow of energy. It spreads. It destroys. If it is not stopped, it kills. Even a small quantity of fear will keep us from getting high. Fear seems to be a bacterial disease. Doubt is anemia. A serious case of doubt, serious lack of self-confidence, will leave the spirit wide open to the ravages of fear and greed, shame, guilt. Building self-confidence is the key to spiritual, mental, physical health. The way to build self-confidence is to start doing things you're not sure you can do. Once you start, keep at it. Never give up. Push harder when you have to. Relax when you can. If you don't keep doing until you're satisfied, you will never know how much you can do. You can do anything. Your strength is equal to your need. Don't do anything you don't have to do. Most undertakings don't take forever. In each of our lives, there are plenty of things we would like to be doing that we could be doing, but we hesitate. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of frustration. We lack confidence. It's a vicious circle, and it must be broken. It must be broken. Once you decide that, that's all there is to it. Make a commitment. Start carrying it through. Carry it through, and the next commitment will be easier to make. Complete this project, and renewed confidence will make it easier to start the next. The circle breaks here. Inertia is a force that works against you when you feel like doing something, but you're doing nothing. But if you seize the day and start doing something, then inertia works with you. It keeps you going till the job is done. The way to build self-confidence is to start doing things. Things you're sure you can do, like walking to the icebox for another beer. Won't improve matters any. So the way to build self-confidence is to start doing things you're not sure you can do. Like flirting with strangers, like baking your own bread, like painting a picture, like moving to the Yukon. Whatever it is, the trick is stop thinking about it, do it. Seize the day and get started and stay with it, and things will get easier and easier from here. To keep your self-confidence, keep giving yourself new challenges. Make sure they're new ones, not the same old tricks in new disguises. The key is commitment. Once you're committed, it's hard to back down. So go ahead and do it and grow that much stronger and surer. Throwing yourself in the water is the best way to learn how to swim. Beware, education. That's all preparation. The only form of education is experience. All the preparation in the world will only teach you how to prepare. Why wait any longer? Jump in the water. The world will begin. Or you'll drown. If you really have no will at all, better luck next life. All will is based on the will to survive. If you haven't got that, you probably aren't living. We are on the verge of the new age, a whole new world. Human consciousness, our mutual awareness is going to make a quantum leap. Everything will change. You will never be the same. All this will happen just as soon as you're ready. Come on in, the water's fine. He who hesitates is lost. He who chooses life is found. We are learning not to draw lines. No lines between black and white. No lines between young and old. No lines between our side and your side. No lines between me and you. Not to draw lines is not to discriminate. The ability to discriminate is the key to perception. Are we taking leave of our senses? Maybe. Maybe we're learning to draw lines with disappearing ink. One moment I'm angry at something. I don't like it. I can put it in a category, try to dislike it forever, teach my children to dislike it, or I can express my anger and forget about it. Next time we meet, we're friends. We are learning not to draw lines. No lines between good and evil. No lines between right and wrong. No lines between man and woman. No lines between human and God. Not to draw lines is to discriminate only for the moment, is not to go beyond the situation, is not to go beyond the world that's real. Here and now, folks, or else spend infinite future fighting quarrels of endless past. You must choose. Do you wish to see, perceive nothing, or do you want to see things as they really are? It is not hard to see things as they really are. It is simply a matter of tearing down walls, ridding oneself of defenses and presumptions, rendering oneself vulnerable, an idiot, a fool. But it is not easy to see things as they really are, because it is painful, it is real, it requires response. It's an incredible commitment. To go 9/10 of the way is to suffer at every moment utter madness. To go all the way is to become sane. Most people prefer blindness, but most people are a dying race. Page 60. To be born is to become totally vulnerable and open to abandon all security in exchange for life. We must not fear to be born anew every moment. Babies are high all the time. They assume nothing. They draw no lines. They are completely open to pain and joy. Babies see things as they really are. Children are high a lot of the time. They are more open than adults, make fewer assumptions, allow more things to happen to them. They seem to have infinite energy. But do not think adults are fallen angels. It is not possible to fall from grace. Adults have access to infinite energy. They can free themselves from assumptions. They can be as high as they choose, but they cannot escape responsibility. And if you don't embrace your responsibility, love it as you love yourself, you will never get high. You will never enjoy free energy flow. What is responsibility? Might as well ask, what is self? It's your responsibility and yourself, and no book and no person can tell you anything about it. Don't try to find out what your responsibility is. It isn't a what, it's a relationship. It isn't something you know, it's something you do. Try to get closer to it. Try to become more yourself. Don't try to find out who you are. We can talk about our responsibility if you like. We, in this case, are women and men. This book is written for women and men. It isn't written for or by God. At the moment you become fully aware of your godhood, this book is irrelevant. Our responsibility is to find our place in the flow of life on this planet. We must cease all action that is counter to the flow of life. We must cease all inaction that is counter to the flow of life. Some of these actions and inactions are already obvious to us, so let us start now. Let every individual reading these words remove himself from all participation in any activity that is detrimental to the flow of life. Let every individual reading these words undertake every activity that it is necessary for her to do in order that the harmony of the life flow be preserved. We must cease all action that is counter to the flow of life. We must cease all inaction that is counter to the flow of life. Many of these actions and inactions are not yet obvious to us. They will become obvious as we raise our level of awareness. So let us start now. When we reach total awareness, self-awareness, we will have found our place in the flow of life on this planet. When we find our place in the flow of life on this planet, we will be totally aware. It will no longer be possible for any individual to be out of harmony with all life. It will be no more possible than it is possible not to breathe. When we, the human race, reach total awareness, an even more incredible thing will happen. All life on this planet will become totally aware. We will all wake up together. Then there will be one creature, newly born, alone and full of pain and joy, and that creature will see things as they really are and will be high all the time until it grows up. Do not be afraid to love. Do not be afraid to love men, women, the very young, the very old, animals, plants, sudden acquaintances, lifelong friends, your children, your parents, strangers, yourself. Love is affirmation. You are God. Give us your blessing. Let yourself be blessed. Listen to no one who tells you how to love. Your love is like no other, and that is what makes it beautiful. Yourself is your divinity. Express yourself. Sooner or later, a person begins to notice that everything that happens to her is perfect, relates directly to who she is, had to happen, was meant to happen, plays its little role in fulfilling her destiny. When she encounters difficulty, it no longer occurs to her to complain. She has learned to expect nothing, has learned that loss and frustration are a part of life and come at their proper time. Instead, she asks herself, why is this happening? By which she means, what can I learn from this? How will it strengthen me, make me more aware? She lets herself be strengthened, lets herself grow, just as she lets herself relax and enjoy and grow when life is gentle to her. Strengthened by this simple notion, simple awareness, that life is perfect, that all things come at the proper moment, and that she is always the perfect person for the situation she finds herself in, a person begins to feel more and more in tune with her inner nature, begins to find it easier and easier to do what she knows is right. All chance events appear to her to be intended. All intentional actions she clearly perceives as part of the workings of chance. Anxiety seldom troubles her. She knows her death will come at its proper moment. She knows her actions are right, and therefore whatever comes to pass as a result of them will be what is meant to happen. When she does feel anxiety, she realizes it is because of that thing she's been meaning to do but hasn't done. Some unfulfilled relationship she's been aware of, but she perceives the anxiety as a message that she'll have to stop hesitating if she wants to stay high. She knows that she's out of tune because she's let herself get out of tune, and because she knows she can, she begins to take action. She enjoys her high life, does not enjoy anxiety, so she stops hesitating and does what she has to do. She does not live in a state of bliss, though perhaps she feels herself moving toward one, or towards something she doesn't know what it is, but it is the way she has to go. The journey towards it is the only life she enjoys. It is hard, it is exciting, it is satisfying, lonely, joyous, frustrating, puzzling, enlightening, real. It is her life, that's all. She accepts it. Sooner or later, a person begins to notice. The affirmation of one's own life, the acceptance of one's destiny as it manifests itself in each moment, is the supreme act of faith. It's incredibly fucking easy. It's a hell of a commitment. Nothing is more important than doing what is right. That is so absurdly obvious that most people pay no attention to it. Most people seem to think that what is obvious is beneath them. They pass up truth in favor of something more intellectually stimulating. It is never difficult to feel what's right. Sometimes, perhaps, there seems to be conflict between two things to do that both feel right. When this happens to you, accept it as a message that you are not in tune with yourself. Do not try to make a decision. Relax and allow your feelings to take over. You are a precision instrument, and you can always feel what's right. Don't fight it. Relax. Do it. Decision-making is a vice. Some addicts reach a stage where they do almost nothing but agonize over decisions. It's a subtle form of hesitation. Like all addictions, the only cure is cold turkey. You could spend the rest of your life trying to decide whether to take the cure. All morality must be based on inner truth. Any morality that goes against inner awareness is immoral. Don't ever think you know what's right for the other person. He might start thinking he knows what's right for you. Two people do not have to agree on what's right to be together. They just have to want to be together. If that sounds simple, try it sometime. We are afraid of committing ourselves, and we are afraid of letting go. To make a commitment is the creative, which is the realm of heaven. To let go is the receptive, which is the realm of earth. So we extend our lives into either of these realms of perfection, though we could easily inhabit both. Our fears interfere, and we remain in purgatory. Yet, how little effort it would take to let go of our meaningless activities and commit our energies to overcoming this fear and attaining heaven and earth. Pay attention. That's always good advice. It's amazing how much frustration can be avoided and how much joy and awareness gained just by paying attention to yourself and the people and the world around you, wherever you may be. It's the greatest show on earth, and it's happening right here, right now. The present is always more interesting than the future or the past. The only way to enjoy the show, to enjoy life, is as a participant. Perhaps it's the people who think they are spectators who spread the ideas that all pleasures must be paid for. Don't pay for anything. Life is free. Page 90. Money and property are obsolete concepts. There is a new world in which the only economics is the economics of energy. When you stop dealing with the concepts of money and property, you will find yourself in this new world. The first law of the economics of energy is you get what you need. So don't worry about freezing or starving to death before you get this new world figured out. There is nothing to figure out. It just happens to you. Let go of the old world and the new one will grow around you like a new skin. Shedding the old skin is the act of revolution. Revolution is a personal matter. You create the world, you must change it. Do it. Repeat when necessary. We never outgrow our need for change. The second law of the economics of energy is it is not possible to make a mistake. The third law is you can make it if you try. We each have access to all the energy there is, all we can conceive of, which is infinite energy in the sense that a circle is infinite. Energy circulates like blood. At every moment, blood is flowing through every cell in the body. Each cell gets what it needs. It makes demands when it needs to. Those demands are never ignored. There are those who say that a cell, when it is part of a body, is not an individual. It lacks the amoeba's freedom. Those who say that do not know that they and the amoeba are already inextricably part of a larger organism called life. Or perhaps they do not know that they are individuals. That organism, that creature of which we are each a part, is a biosphere, the living surface of this planet Earth. That stirring we all feel, that move toward group consciousness, is the biosphere of Earth becoming aware of its existence. It is being born. We are waking up. For what it's worth, the millennium is upon us. Our responsibility as individual cells of a living organism is to perform our individual functions as well as possible. Our orders come from within. They are not imposed from without. We are free to be ourselves as fully as we can, and the more we are ourselves, the better we will be functioning, and the more satisfaction we will feel. Our lives will grow richer and richer as the health of the total organism improves. Our destiny is unimaginably high. At the depths of despair, nothing matters. I can't do anything. Got to get out of here. Walls falling in. Throw me a rope. I can't move. I can't stand it. Nothing. Throw me a rope. And one day, like any other day, finally tired of waiting for help that never comes, make a rope, tie it to a rock, throw it up, pull yourself out, and walk away. And it took all that time just to find yourself. And that's how long it had to take, and it was well worth every moment. You hesitate, you think and struggle, and finally you don't even think about it anymore. You just lie there in defeat. You just lie there forever. And then one day you get up and do what you have to do and go on along to the next thing. The act of will is the creative act, the generative force. Things at a distance seem different from what's nearby, so we have the word God for the force that created life somewhere long ago, distant. In the beginning, and we get confused. Perhaps we also call it God that created human beings. Those creatures so inexplicably different from other creatures. Perhaps we even call it God or Son of God that walked on earth and altered consciousness 2,000 years ago. Always God is off in the distance. The creative force is something in the past. We do not yet see the past as a time that once was present, or the present as what will be visible as past now. It's all the same. Our scientists looking into the microscope, the telescope, looking into the very large, the very small, find things that only numbers can describe. Quantum theory, Planck's constant. They can find no words to describe light, words out of human language, human experience, only equations to define relationships, working at arm's length. The abstract, distance. Why can't we bring it home? Things look different at a distance. The horizon, distant stars, the curved universe, relativity. It doesn't make sense. Heisenberg, uncertainty, the limits of observation. God is dead, meaning he doesn't seem to exist in the present, here, the speed of light, a number, light a particle, light a wave, energy, it's all energy. God is love. What does that mean? Newton's laws breaking down, ancestor worship breaking down, free enterprise breaking down. It doesn't work. God is dead. Anarchy. Big Bang theory of the origin of the universe. Steady state theory. Where are all these subatomic particles coming from? Where am I? Who am I? Who is Homo sapiens? How do we fit into all this? The universe is a creation of the mind, a function of the perceptions. Philosophers have proved it. Science proved it. But what is all this stuff humans can't perceive? Ultraviolet, infrared. The closer you look at it, the further away it gets. All this effort to understand the universe, and what does it get us? The atom bomb, security clearances. Nobody believes anymore. Lost our faith. No faith in God, the Creator. No faith in Christ, the Savior. No faith in the free market. No faith in the working class. No faith in science. No faith in technology. No faith in governments. No faith in money. Do we dare to have faith in each other? Wait a minute. Faith in each other. The act of will is the creative act, the generative force. How did life start on this planet? Answer, you can't stop life. Time is no object. Life just waited and one day got up and did it and went on to the next thing. Ridiculous. Try an experiment. Try doing nothing. Do it as long as you can. Do it until you have to do something. You can't stop it. You can't help it. It may take a long time. Time is no object. I can wait forever. I've got time. Time is a concept. Life is real. It creates itself. Will. The generative force, God the Creator, origin of life. What is life? Life is. Try and stop it. Try an experiment. Set off the bomb. Uncertainty, difficult experiment to observe. Nevertheless, outcome certain. You can't stop life. Cut off an arm, a leg, blow it up. Wait, it grows back. Damnedest stuff. How does it work? Let's figure it out. Here we go again. What is God? You are God. I am God. What am I? I am life. I am the voice of life. I am the voice of life. Me too. Life has many voices. Life has only one voice. Listen to me. This is God speaking, here and now, folks. Right here in this room. Right here on this planet. No distance. No distance. No microscopes. telescopes, television cameras, priests, no protective glass, no underarm deodorant, no code of ethics, no standards of behavior, no laws, no society, no axioms, no distance. Get back, it's not safe. This thing could blow up at any minute. Who cares? I don't give a fuck. Let's enjoy it while it lasts, while we last, here and now. God is what is there when you take away the distance. All human consciousness is moving towards this awareness. No field of human endeavor will fail to be revolutionized by it. We are all going to meet in the present. You can't stop life, the law of conservation of energy. Memo to the human race. If you can't lick 'em, join 'em. Those who think human beings unimportant because of the vastness of space fail to realize that we are as much bigger than the smallest stuff we can perceive as we are smaller than the biggest stuff we can perceive. Those who think human beings important because we are so neatly in the middle of things fail to realize that everything is right smack dab in the middle of its own range of perception. If you could look infinitely far forward in time, if you could look infinitely far out into space, there is no question what you would see. You would see the back of your head. Everybody wants to know, what can I do? We all want to save the planet, pick up the garbage, free our brothers and sisters, stop war and bring the millennium. But what can I do? Seriously. Okay, seriously? Get to reality. Get to your own reality. Become yourself. Become incredibly high and real and influence everyone around you with your vibrations. No matter how difficult it is, drop everything else and start doing the most fantastic, real things you can think of. Become yourself. Get to your own reality. Page 114. Have faith in your ability to be. Don't try to be someone else. That isn't being. Your mere existence will change the world. Don't hang around trying to figure it out. Be bold and direct and honest and energetic. You know what to do. If you don't think you know, do absolutely nothing until you do. This method never fails. Pure receptive leads to pure creative. Imagine what you could be and don't hesitate for a moment. Take everything that is strong in you and put it to work. Set it free. Never mind what anyone thinks. Take all your muscles and stretch them to their limits. You'll amaze yourself how good you'll feel and how much good you'll do just by radiating pure energy outward. Contact high, the ultimate form of communication. You are beautiful. Be. Become. Commit yourself to a life in which you constantly consume your own security, forcing yourself to seek a higher security, which you attain and then destroy in order to go higher still. It sounds unbearably painful, but it's just growing pains. Didn't you say you wanted freedom? Freedom is not a TV set and bank account. Convenience, security won't get you high, won't even keep you safe. They'll consume you, and you know it. Security is quicksand. Can it really be anyone's ambition in life to become one half the couple in the life insurance ads? Security, life insurance. How much are you worth dead? More than you're worth alive. Hurry up and die then. Hurry up and be born again. Open yourself to absolutely anything that gets thrown at you, including death and life. Open all the way. Don't worry about picking out the important stuff. Just let it all get thrown at you, and the important stuff will be what hits you. All you have to do is not shut anything out. Security is a glass wall. Full security is a glass case that keeps out all happiness, pain, awareness, change, love, danger, truth, and air. Tear down the walls before you suffocate. Tear down the walls. We should be together. It isn't safe. It might be fun. Let go of everything you're holding on to. Now, let go of everything else. We can learn to stop struggling by realizing we're naturally buoyant. If we relax and persevere, we cannot drown. Abandon all security. You have nothing to lose but your chains. Stop clinging. Set yourself free. This is the truth. It's all true. Every word that everyone ever tells you is true. If you would just open far enough, make the effort to understand. It is time to destroy the myth of the artist. We are all artists. We need to become better art appreciators. There's plenty of great creation. We need great listeners, great readers, great perceivers, great receptors. It's all true. What's hard is not saying truth, but accepting truth, embracing truth. That is greatness. Open up. Don't seek beauty, find beauty. All life, day to day and century to century, is a succession of pride and humility. Humility leads to greater awareness. Greater awareness leads to greater achievement. Greater achievement leads to pride. Pride breeding blindness, lack of awareness, imbalance, downfall, and a slow return of humility. Maybe now that we're aware of this cycle, we can transcend it. Is it possible to be high all the time and not get cocky about that accomplishment? It is if you really stay high. Remember, but for the grace of God, we would not be God. It's something to think about. The end of the world, heat death of the universe, and the moment of creation, in the beginning, are illusions caused by looking into the distance like parallel lines that seem to meet and stop or start at the horizon. Creation, birth, death is a continual process that happens in the present. The ability to come into being is an inherent quality of life. It is not caused by any outside agent. Preventing conception, birth, is not so easy as arrogant humans may think. Whether it should or shouldn't be prevented is an impossible question. At each moment, you know what you have to do, wrong or right, can never exist outside of the context of the moment. Life goes on. Make things happen. Let things happen. If someone wants to love you and you don't let them, what does that mean? Thought. I can't. Awareness. I can do anything I want. Thought. I don't want to. Thought. Why not? Awareness. I am afraid. I am afraid of the commitment, getting involved. Thought. But I am not always afraid, or I am, but I love anyway, because I want the person bad enough to overcome my fear or hesitation. I care enough to try. Or I am possessed, the Spirit moves me to love, and I do not stop to reason. Those times are easiest and most exciting. Awareness. You get what you need. Thought. I am limited by my fears. Awareness. I cannot eliminate all my fears at once, but I can push them back. I can be braver. I can expand my universe. Thought. I want to love more, be loved more. Awareness. I must open myself, must be willing to take on greater commitment. The more involved I dare get, the more love I'll be able to share. I must work on my self-confidence. It is the self that loves, not the body, not the mind. We must open ourselves. We must free ourselves from the patterns that constrain us. There are two ways of doing this: fasting and feasting. Stop watching television or watch it day and night until your mind snaps completely. Stop listening to records or listen to records to the exclusion of all else until it drives you mad. If your fast isn't getting you high, isn't changing your life and thought patterns, expand it. Limit yourself further. Take on greater challenges of deprivation until you're desperate enough to see the light. If your feast isn't getting you high, speed it up. Overload more and more. Strain your senses to the limits and beyond the limits. Build on the tower till it topples. Take in more and more stimuli until you crack under the strain and break through. The goal is renewed awareness. Freedom. We can make it if we try. Repetition deadens awareness. Repetition deadens awareness. Break the glass. Break the glass. Don't think twice. It's all right. Technology is a riddle that has us all puzzled. The more you examine modern technology, the more you find damage to the Earth's living environment behind its every extension. And since we need to go on living more than we need the technology, that seems to argue that the technology should be eradicated. A short-sighted viewpoint. What is actually necessary is that we make a technological advance. This is not a trivial matter of correction, of course. We are not talking about installing air pollution control devices. We are talking about reform. We are talking about revolution. Bringing our technology up to date with our awareness requires drastic conceptual changes in almost all complex equipment now in use. An axe is a simple tool coupled with awareness. It is not destructive of the environment. A chainsaw is a complex tool. It's too easy. It tends to weaken the awareness of its user. In addition, it requires fossil fuels, which are destructive to earth and water when obtained, and harmful to the air and life when burned. It may further be noted that our supply of fossil fuels and many metals is almost exhausted, etc., etc. Similar comparisons can be made between such simple and complex tools as bicycles and automobiles, abaca and computers, etc. Bringing our technology up to the level of our awareness is the absolute, unavoidable complement of bringing our awareness up to the level of our technology, which is where we've been focusing our energy. Awareness and technology meet in the lifestyle of the individual. That is the arena of conflict and change. All complex technology must be reworked so that no machine operates outside of the flow of life on Earth. Preserving the health of the total organism, not of the individual, must be the first goal of all our endeavors. When all tools are designed and used with that in mind, human technology will have advanced satisfactorily into the present. Until then, it is criminally inadequate and must be destroyed in order to hasten its rebirth. That is the creative process. Let's get to work. Our present technology is not a mistake. It is not possible to make a mistake. Rather, it is an extremely primitive precursor of the incredible organic technology that is our destiny to construct, create in this universe. We must not let our primitive playthings restrict our creative genius. We must not cling to the past when there is so much to do in the present. If you would set to work creating the new technology, abandon all complex tools. They are misconceptions. All the brilliant discoveries and inventions of our times will be made with our minds and hands and senses, aided by simple tools and concepts. This is true now as it has been true throughout history. Many of the greatest discoveries of our times will be made by those who, in addition to listening to their hearts and to each other, listen to the rest of the kingdom of life, to the trees, birds, insects, fishes, worms, algae, to the oceans and forests and mountains and deserts and skies, to all consciousness that dwells on this planet, to all of life, not Homo saps fragmentary awareness alone. Get to know the beautiful if you would become acquainted with truth. Get to know the truthful if you would become acquainted with beauty. The kingdom of heaven is within us. All we have to do is find ourselves, express ourselves, manifest ourselves, and we'll find it all around us. Why wait any longer? Refuse to have anything to do with anything like a nation or person or corporation that seeks to grow wealthier rather than healthier, larger rather than truer. Do nothing to contribute to that cancerous growth. Isolate it. Let it die. Energy is what fills the universe. Energy is what comes and goes. Consciousness is what defines the energy. Under that consciousness, we're each in touch with all of it. Under means within. Truth is found within, and bringing it to consciousness is the act of creation. Love is the affirmation of energy that keeps it flowing through us. Life is the self-creating energy creature we call God. Self is self and all and alone and responsible. God help us all. End of Das Energy by Paul Williams. Narrated by Rex King.